What is up, everybody? Your girl is back on YouTube. It's been long, but I am finally making a commitment to be consistent because I have so much that I want to share on my journey with life in general, not just fitness, but with life in general, that I just want to be able to share a little bit more deeply with you guys. So I feel like YouTube is definitely the platform to be able to do that. So today I am going to be sharing all about my endometriosis journey. It was highly, highly requested on Instagram. So I'm just going to start from like the very beginning of what I remember to kind of where I'm at now. I hope that you guys don't relate to me, but if you do, you can always DM me on here, on Instagram, comment, whatever it is. You're not alone in this, and I know how isolating it can be, and I know it feels like you're crazy sometimes because not even doctors believe you. So just know that you're not alone on this journey, and you have people supporting you 100% of the time. And I'm one of them because I will definitely be here for you all the way through. So starting a little bit from the beginning, when I was 13, I was put on birth control from like my very first period because I had to skip school. I had to miss like cheerleading practice. I had to miss soccer, all of that stuff because my cramps were so intense. And then my cycle just wasn't regular. So, I think it was like 5 months into, after I started my first cycle, that I was put on birth control because doctors were like, oh, well, you're in so much pain, we might as well just put you on birth control. It wasn't for like family planning or anything. It was literally just because I was in so much pain all the time as a 13-year-old, and it was preventing me from going to school. So I had been put on that birth control, and being very real, being very frank with you guys, I had to change birth controls. Between the time of when I was like 13 to 16, I had to change birth controls like I think 3 to 4 times just because I didn't react well to them. It was more so mental health symptoms. I actually had a lot of suicidal ideation with being on those birth controls, and I've had a lot of doctors tell me that that doesn't happen with birth control. That was just literally like my mental health, and I need to go see a therapist, a psychiatrist, and I do see one. I did see one, but honestly, like, I haven't had those thoughts since I got off those birth controls, so I know 100% it was the birth control that I was on. So I did change. I finally got the implant. I was taking different types of pills, different formulations or whatever. I got the implant in my arm when I was 17, I believe, and I had that one for 3 years, and then I got it changed. So when I got it changed, it was like a year into it, and that's when I started my fitness journey. And that's when I lost like 80 pounds. And after I lost all that weight, I first of all, I was having a pretty regular cycle on that implant. It was like every month or, every 2 months or whatever. I never really had like a super regular cycle, but regular for me is like every 2 to 3 months. So the implant I had, so after I lost the weight, I started to have a really irregular cycle, and I went for like 8 months not having a period. And my doctor was like, oh, totally, totally normal. Just like, don't worry about it. It's totally normal with the birth control. And I was like, seems weird, but okay. So I just left it, and a couple months later I had a cycle, and I was like, okay, finally I'm having a period. But yeah, that period lasted like 4 months. Literally, I was bleeding for 4 months straight. And it was to the point where it was such a heavy flow that I was literally bleeding through like a super tampon and a pad in like an hour. And I was lightheaded. I could not go to the gym. I could not do anything because I was like literally losing so much blood. So I went back to the doctor, and she was like, okay, maybe since, you lost so much weight, your hormones are kind of out of whack right now. So let's just take out the implant. Let's give your body a little break from birth control. And I was like, okay, great plan. Let's give my body a break from birth control. So I had my implant taken out. It was literally the first time in my life that I had not been on birth control. That is when a lot of the symptoms started to come back. For my endometriosis. I, of course, never had like a regular cycle ever. Like, I've never had one. I started tracking my cycle with the Flow app. It was a godsend because it never let me forget, like, your cycle's late. Hey, are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I finally decided to go see a different doctor to get a different opinion, and I went through like guys, like 12 different GYNs. I had a couple GYNs, like even women GYNs, tell me I was lying. They told me that the pain I was experiencing was all in my head. They told me that, I had one woman tell me that it was not normal at all, or she told me that it's impossible for women to have irregular cycles, that our bodies work like clockwork, and if I have an irregular cycle, I'm lying about it. So she basically called me a liar for having an irregular cycle, and I was like, I don't think I could lie about that. Like, why would I lie about that? So I finally found a doctor who decided it's time to do something different, and he decided to give me an IUD because he basically told me that the endometriosis that was built up was so intense that it was going to lead me likely to infertility and to cervical or ovarian cancer in the future. And so I was like, oh shit, like, yeah, just give me the IUD, even though I didn't want to go back on hormonal birth control just because of the whole host of problems that I had. But I was like, okay, if you're saying that's the case, then okay, whatever. But backtracking a little bit, in those months that I did not have birth control and I was kind of off of it, I went to the ER 3 times, literally 3 times, out of literally intense pelvic pain, like to the point where I could not stand up. I was bawling my eyes out, and I could not even function during the day because I was in so much pain. And I wasn't bleeding or anything, I was literally just in pain, like physical pain. And I would go to the ER because I was like, there's something wrong. And they told me I was lying. They were like, you're not in this much pain, we can't find anything wrong with you, there's like nothing going on. You know, I had countless ultrasounds, I had CT scans, I had MRIs, like I had all that stuff, and they were like, there's nothing wrong with you. And I was like, is it all in my head? Like, it's such an isolating feeling to believe that it's all in your head, because that's what doctors, like professionals, are telling you, because you can't physically see anything wrong with you. They can't see anything wrong with you on tests, whatever it may be. So one particular time that I went to the ER was actually probably the most scarring time that I went to the ER. They were like, oh, well, you have to have an STD if you're in this much pain. And I was like, literally impossible, thank you. I've been with the same person for 6 years, like, thank you, that is impossible. But they did like a pelvic exam and everything, and they were like, oh, you're like inflamed, like your cervix is super inflamed, blah blah blah. And I was like, what? And so they did like an STD test on me. They were like, you 100% have an STD. And I was like, no, I don't. And they called me like 2 days later and they were like, oh yeah, you don't. And I was like, thanks, I could have told you that myself. But basically they brought the whole like nursing people in, and it was people I had like gone to school with and everything, and they were all like talking about how I had an STD. So it was like really fucking embarrassing for me. So that was probably the most traumatic time I had ever been to the ER because of my endo. But yeah, I was just in chronic pain every single day. So I got the IUD out of the, I didn't really want to, but I did. And so I got the IUD and I was like, okay, all my problems are gonna be solved. Like, I'm not gonna be in pain anymore. I'm not gonna have fatigue. I'm not gonna have brain fog. I'm not gonna have bloating. I'm gonna feel so good. And one, the IUD hurt like shit. Like, anybody who's gotten IUD before, that shit should not hurt that much, guys. We are so advanced in our technology. Like, why does that shit hurt so bad? Tell me why. But anyway, after I got the IUD, I felt good for like 2 weeks maybe, and then all of the symptoms started to rush back to me again. Probably the most annoying symptom that I have is, of course, the pain. The pain sucks, but one of the most annoying symptoms I have is the chronic fatigue and brain fog. Like, literally, I will forget the most simple things during the day. And it's like, I run my own business, so it's super hard for me because sometimes I'll just like forget to do something, and it was something that's been written in my calendar for forever, and I'm like, fuck, like I forgot to do that. Like, how does anybody with this function in professional life? Like, I have no idea. But the fatigue is intense. Like, no matter how much caffeine I drink, no matter what I eat during the day, it's like, okay, by 2 p.m. you're down and out for the day. Like, there's nothing that you can do. So I literally have to do all of my work. I have to get my workout in. I have to do everything that I want to do for the day before like 2 p.m. because I know 100% I'm gonna hit that wall at like 2 p.m. and I'm not gonna be able to get out of it. And I sleep like 10 hours a night, guys. So it's not like don't come at me with like, you need to try this, you need to try this. Girl, I've tried it. But I've had the IUD now for 5 months, and I finally, after I moved here to Charleston, which I'm gonna do a house tour very soon, but after I moved here, I was still experiencing extreme pain, like to the point where I can't function during the day. I'll like lay in bed all day, all that stuff. So I finally saw a new doctor here, and she was like, okay, girlfriend, like we're gonna do something. And I was like, thank God. And so she finally said that we're going to do surgery to get a solid diagnosis for my endo, because you can't get a diagnosis, like solid diagnosis, until you have surgery, laparoscopic surgery to see, because they can't see the endo on anything else. So I have scheduled my surgery for December of 2020. So I'm going to have that surgery very, very soon. It is now October right now. So praying that the surgery does provide some relief. They go in basically and they cut out whatever they can find, and whatever that they can take out that won't affect my fertility in the future. We won't really know the extent to everything until they go in, but they'll let me know what my options are after they do go in, so that they can like let me know if I need, you know, to go see fertility counseling or whatever it may be. But that is kind of like my journey leading up to right now. I'll keep you guys updated for sure, but this is just kind of a video sharing my journey from like the start to where I am right now with it and everything. I know there's a lot of people who have had the surgery before and they've talked me through it and everything, but in terms of like my endometriosis as a whole, my diagnosis, it sucks. It sucks every day to be in chronic pain, but it helps anybody feel like they're not alone by me sharing my story. Then 100% I will share it every single day of the week. So this is just like my story, what I have experienced, you know, with doctors telling me, you know, you're a liar, you're not in pain or whatever, and then doctors telling me I have STDs even though they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I hope you guys haven't had any of these experiences before, but just know if you have, you're not alone. And if you want to see any sort of like what I do to manage my endometriosis symptoms, what I do on bad days, let me know and I can definitely share those with you too, because I have definitely come up with a system for myself that really does work for me. So I can definitely share those tips with you as well. But this is a little bit about my endo journey. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment, subscribe, and like this video. Let me know what you guys want to see in the future, because I am getting back into YouTube. I am making a commitment to it because I love just like chit-chatting with you guys and just having fun filming stuff. But I'm going to be filming a house tour here in Charleston very, very soon, because I just moved here. I just got all settled into my apartment. So I'll give you a tour very soon. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know below what you guys want to see in the future, and I love you bitches so much. I hope you all have an amazing motherfucking